Hi, my name is John Dooner from DY3 Solutions, and I'm going to tell you now a coaching story, and it's about how we tapped into somebody's values to help move them up from what was a pretty difficult situation. I hope you enjoy it. So we're not too over prescriptive with the tools we use, and in this particular case there were two that surfaced for us. One, neuro-linguistic programming, where we're actually using language to access our clients' view of the world. We meet our clients where they are and try to sort of establish the blockers and filters that they're using in their thinking. And then we also introduce the language and the thinking of positivity through positive psychology. And those words there are just some ideas that we are beginning to use to shape up the conversations that allow us maybe to get our head above the current parapet and look forward, outwards and beyond. In this particular case, the person concerned had been really badly let down by people to whom he was close, to people who he felt was a high level of trust and affiliation. It turned out it wasn't that way, and it completely shattered his confidence. This isn't unusual, is it? Something goes wrong in one aspect of life and it has a repercussive effect on another. The end result for him was it had left him in a place where he believed he was incapable of forming relationships, of maintaining relationships, and this included his workplace relationships. So not only had he had a pretty destructive event in his personal life that had leached into his professional life, his working life, and had left him in a very vulnerable place. And this is exactly what happened. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Didn't trust people to engage with them and to meet them, to build up confidence, and his confidence was shattered. So one fed into the other. I haven't got any confidence in people, therefore I'm not going to meet people who are going to convince me that maybe I was wrong, that there are decent people out there, and I do need to invest a little bit of trust in people. I do need to take a few risks here. He wasn't prepared to make that journey. In fact, at the point when we first met, my view would be that he was almost incapable of making that journey. So clearly we had to change something. Really important to allow the person who I'm working with to form up their own images, their own metaphors that describe their situation. And in our conversations, he felt that so badly had he been let down that he'd been effectively abandoned on a cold road to nowhere. And the power of that image and its meaningfulness to him, I just leave you with to contemplate. Well, we need to find out what this person's strengths are, because these are the things that we're going to use to help move him from one place to another. So we do an online assessment, and this is what came back to us, and that gave me something to be working with and to start to say, look, if you were using this in your current situation, what might happen? How could we use it in a way that helps explain to you how you could work your way through this? What do your strengths bring you that are particularly relevant in your current situation and have got some value in helping you to work through it? Well, we're at a point now where using some of the ideas from a previous slide, looking at our strengths, that's given us an opportunity to change some of the thought patterns, change the language, and move us on to maybe a more constructive and hopeful personal narrative that's going to play a really important part as we move on to the next phase. And what we've got here is, as the more positive conversations take place, so we can start working within the realms of possibility. And another one of the strategies that I use is to change the location. So we've moved out of the formal face-to-face situation to one where we're going for a walk, and that changes the interpersonal dynamic significantly. The idea of a car park, a strong metaphor there. This is what we're leaving, and what we're trying to leave there is some of the sabotaging beliefs that have held this person back. And we then need to ask some good questions. What is it you're leaving here, and why? Now, look, these beliefs, even though they're damaging, they've been part of that person for a while, and we need to be pretty sure that we are walking away from the right thing for the right reasons here. So we want to know what life's going to be like without it, and what's the state of readiness. So we then move on to seeing if we can shift some perspective. So let's take a look at that, shall we? Literally, perspective changes. So we've got the visual perspective and the spatial perspective that goes with that. And you also need to take into account just the sounds that are happening around you. What this gives me an opportunity to do is to use what we can see, so I can then start to apply some ideas about well, what is on the horizon, what's over the curve, and we can use some of these things that are literally we're looking at here. What are the clouds? What are the blue sky hopes here? And we can start using quite aspirational language, but bringing it down to some quite pragmatic and grounded ideas. What we've actually done is we've moved away from the stuff we've left parked in the car park, and we're now seeing it from a different perspective. So I suppose in more common parlance, what we're actually doing here is we're reframing it, assuming that we've left what was holding us back a little way away from us. So let's take a look at what's going on here. We are literally examining another pathway, but that gives me an opportunity to extend the reality, the physical reality, into a metaphor. What does this other pathway mean to you? What opportunities are we seeking? What's it taking us away from? What is it leading us towards? What's happening on that journey? So it's highly conversational. What I'm trying to do here is to reinforce the positives, the aspirations that the person has had, and also to try to bring them down into manageable chunks. So we're actually sort of saying, look, is this realistic? Can we actually do this? Really important to understand that there's a lot of silence involved, and I would, I guess, just remind ourselves not to underestimate the positive power of silence. It gives people an opportunity to reflect and to absorb, and it takes a lot of confidence, I think, in a relationship to walk with somebody in silence for a little while. All right, so we're now back at our car park, and we can use this in a really powerful way. What have we come back to? What did we leave there? And now do we literally want to leave those ideas and beliefs there and drive away back into our more usual lives? So what's gone on here? We've broken state. We've moved from where we usually work to something where completely different. We've changed the interpersonal dynamic between us. We've agreed on what it is that we want to leave behind, and we've walked for a while without that. That conversation has allowed us to speculate on other directions of travel we might want to take. We get back to the car park, and we need to check out before we drive off that we are happy now to leave those damaging and limiting beliefs there for good. And this is what I want the people with whom I'm working to experience. I want them to experience that idea of I have purposeful energy now to carry myself forward. I'm using conversational techniques as well that are examining what some of the obstacles might be, what options we've got, our commitment to doing it, the reality of trying to achieve our goals. That's all fine and part of the process, and we do follow this up, but what I want to have is that people leave us in an energised and purposeful place to carry on with the next phase of their lives. So thanks very much indeed for listening to this, and I do hope you found something of value in it. I'll leave some contact details at the end of the play out music. Thanks very much indeed, everybody, and do journey well.